Welcome to Face It, the podcast by Skincademy, where we have real conversations that challenge beauty standards, look underneath the surface, and promote self love. In today's episode, Building a Career in Skincare, I'm joined by Kinuthia, a powerhouse in the skincare industry in Kenya. She's the founder of the thriving medical spa Uglow, a franchisee of the Beauty Training Institute Kenya, and she is one of the major distributors of Circadia skincare. We're diving into what it really takes to succeed in the skincare industry, from the treatment room to the classroom and beyond. Hi, Jean.
Hi, Olivia.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome to Face It.
Thank you.
We're so honored to have you on today, and I'm really excited to have the conversation with you because I'm really hoping that we'll be able to share so much of your knowledge and experience within the skincare industry. So, I first wanted to have a chit chat with you about your personal journey and where you've come from and how you ended up here doing what you do today. So, first, I want to ask what sparked your interest to get into the skincare industry?
So looking back, my mom used to have a salon, and most of the time of the holidays, I used to go there, help her out with the day to day. So looking back, I didn't know how impactful that process was for my life. But after that, of course, went to campus, did a totally different thing, maybe not even anything skincare.
Mhm.
So I did communication and psychology. Was in an industry that I got to a point where I was not enjoying what I was doing.
Mm.
So just looked back and asked myself if I'm feeling like this when I'm going to work and it's not something that I'm looking forward to. What can I do? So back in 2019, I took a step back and then started this journey.
Mm.
So I asked myself if I was to get into the beauty industry, what is the maximum thing that I can do? Because again, I didn't want to get to the basic where you just do normal facial and then also hair, nails, massage. Those are not my passion. I really wanted something that is different. Also wanted to be specialized in one thing. So when I looked in Nairobi, I think Caroline Allison was there. But for the course that they had something that was general. And what I wanted to specialize just in skin.
Mhm.
And looking back, when I started, most of my family members, you see how you can get into something and you want to support.
Mm.
And you're like, so do you do nails? I'm like, no. Do you do massages? I'm like, no, just skin. And then 1 month into it, I was like, did I do the right decision getting into it?
Yeah.
Because everyone was not getting what I wanted
Mm.
and what my right clientele was.
Mm.
But now looking back, I think I'm proud for sticking to it.
Yeah.
And when you look now, we currently have so many clinics that have specialized with skin only.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about skin that you found really interesting as opposed to the hair, the nails, and the other things that are part of the beauty industry? Probably more well known, as you've been saying, skincare is becoming more popular. But what is it about skin that really excited you?
So you see how you can move a skin from this to this, the
Hmm.
transformation that comes with it, the interaction that comes with interacting with the client. Because with skincare, with skin treatment, it's not a one-off thing. So in most cases, they have to come in again, and then now the relationship that comes into it, and then seeing the journey and the transformation that they get after. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that is one of the things that I really, really liked with it. And
Mhm.
then I think from also a young age, I was passionate about skin makeup, but makeup is also not something that I like. But
Mhm.
now skincare is
Yeah.
dealing
Yeah.
with it from underneath.
Great. I
Yeah,
love that. The foundation of it all.
the foundation of it all.
Yes. Okay. So then after you did your schooling and then you started setting up and focusing on skin, so you can tell us a little bit about Uglow, what inspired the name, what inspired setting up the clinic, and then how you also then went into franchising for BTI.
So for Uglow, came up with a plan of it. I like a 5-year plan of how I would want it to be and how I would start it. At this particular point, it's more of like an aesthetic clinic.
Mm.
We are registered as a clinic, a level 2 clinic. But when we started as a spa,
Mm.
a Medispa.
Mm.
So Uglow is just as the name says, you glow from underneath the skin. So that really inspired me, the name. And then it's just simple. You see how you can have Safaricom and that's it. It's a name that will just speak for itself.
Yes.
So that, and then during that time when, because I was getting so many inspiration from US, other countries, most of the solo esthetician, there was a fuss on that. So just I started solo with a very small establishment. I think I was the marketing, I was the cleaner, I was the treatment,
Yeah.
I was the finance, everything
Everything
that comes with it. So we did that. And then over years, I've seen at least now getting to where I'm not even where I'm supposed to be, but at least I'm happy with the progress and the gradual growth that is happening over time. Yeah.
And for BTI?
So for BTI, I've started now looking for guys to employ. So most of the guys who are coming in, maybe straight out of school, you could still see the gap of they still don't know what they're doing. And there's the educational bit that comes with it. But now having that now on the practicals there was a gap in between there.
Yeah.
And then also remembering how I started looking for schools, because I'm one person who didn't want to do everything, every other thing. And I was so particular on doing one thing. So that is also another thing that really made me get into the industry. I didn't plan for it. So it was more of like, there's a need for it. So how do I bridge that gap?
Right.
So what I did, I had also been in BTI. So I had seen BTI and I know they were franchising. So I just contacted Sandy with my partner Shiro and then we started. I didn't want to give guys just something that, okay, I've done facial for a few days now, for a few years now. I didn't want that. I really wanted something with structure, something with system. One thing I like about BTI, everything is well structured. The course materials are there, the how you're supposed to do it. And then it was also growing at that particular time.
Yes.
So because it was so big also in Nigeria, Ghana was there, we had Namibia, and then many, I think in SA, there are about 13,
Wow.
13 BTI schools. Nigeria now around 4, Ghana 1, then Namibia 1. So having that, and then now having it in Kenya. And then, most of the time, there's that pride that usually comes with, I've gone to US or maybe I've gone to this and this country, but when are we going to embrace our own?
Yes.
And looking how BTI was growing as a global college in Africa, it was something to be proud of.
Yeah.
And then also looking back, Sandy, one of my mentors, is also someone who has really positioned herself in the market. So she was the president of Sedesco for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And then she resigned to focus on BTI. So that tells you at least she has been able to travel. She has and oversee all the schools in the world. So you as a business person, having that exposure with something that you do, of course, you would want the best for you for what you're doing.
Yes.
So she has been able to get different things that are working for different markets and then incorporating that into BTI.
BTI. Yes. Yeah.
So even with the quality of students that usually comes out, I usually say if you've had a BTI background, there's nothing hard under the sun. So you can any training in beauty will, because it usually creates a bit of like a very strong foundation when it comes to training and education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I think I picked a couple of key themes that I just want to reiterate for the audience there, because there was definitely intentionality in what you did that started right from the beginning of your journey, and you saying, I want to do just skin. And even when you were getting pushback from people asking about, can you do this other service? Can you do this other service? I love that you were very clear about what it is that you wanted to achieve, and you were very clear on your vision. Sometimes I think as business owners or just people in the world, right? We get pulled left and right, by conversations, and we get swayed by other people's opinions. But I think when you are clear on what it is that you are trying to achieve, it's easy to say no to the things that don't align, which then allows you to focus. So I think that was a really key point that you made. And then I think high standards and excellence is really important. I think I have to say, as Kenyans, I think we struggle sometimes with pushing ourselves to reach and maintain a high standard. And it's clear that for you, that's it's top of the game and top of the mind for you as you're training students, but also as you're providing your services through the clinic. So thank you for giving us a bit of background. And now we're going to get into challenges, the difficult part, because when we sit here at the end, it's always fantastic to be like, oh yes, I've been through this. But I think people need to have the reality of understanding just exactly what are the hurdles that I can expect to face in a journey if I take it like this. So let's get into the challenges.
So, I remember back in 2019, I started in November. So you see how I usually start with crazy offers. And I remember mine vividly, it was about 50%.
Oh wow.
The worst
You
thing
were
you can
generous.
do. So 50% on a service.
Wow.
So you can imagine how much guys will come in. Kenyans, I mean, they love discounts. So for that month, for the first month I was booked, but now guys were paying even for the next month. At least if you know you're guaranteed, if you're getting a 50% on service, at least if you pay a full amount, that will cover maybe 2 treatments or so.
Right.
So at least November, December, I was busy. Not so busy, but at least reasonably
For starting.
Yeah. Come January, I think that month only saw 2 clients.
Oh wow. The entirety of January.
2.
Was that also January? January is also a difficult time. As business owners, we know January is also a difficult time. People have gone, they've spent all their money in Christmas. There's nothing
And there's
left.
nothing left.
Yes.
But let me ask you, you see, 2 guys for a whole month, and you need to pay rent, you need to pay for expenses.
Yes.
I'm like, you know what did I just do? As in, where am I getting clients or what? But you know what? That didn't stop me from still keeping. You can't judge.
Yes.
See, like most of the time when you're starting, it usually looks rosy, good on the outside.
Yeah.
But when now you start and then you're like, you know what? This is something that I like, and I'm happy that it's something that I was enjoying. Even for those 2 clients, I wish you would have seen me.
Stellar service.
Hi. And this is because when they come in, it's just 2, but in your head, you're like, you know what? This is all that I got. And
Yes.
I have to ensure that you're happy at the end of it. So yes, that was one of the challenge. The other thing that came in, of course, now was in terms of the people management is usually also very tough. I don't know, but it's
Yes.
not my forte in any way, and that is why even BTI came in, because you have to train someone. Once you've trained them, a few months later they've moved on maybe with their life, maybe greener pastures or what, and then we start again. So this is a cycle that usually happens a lot. And then the other thing, of course, what was there by then, you see, like most people are not doing facials. And if they were doing facials with other things.
Okay.
So even supply was a bit low by then. So getting things into the country, taxes, that was also very difficult. But at least you get the hang of it as you go.
Yeah.
And then for BTI, the other thing, our courses are not cheap. We don't attract masses.
Right.
So also before
we call that it's an investment into your
it is an investment.
Yes, it's an investment. Yeah.
So being an investment, you have to think it through. Is it the right thing? Is this what I need? Like you have to put so much thought into it.
Yeah.
So before you make a decision, that takes time. You could even probably talk to someone in January and then they convert in December.
Right.
So that was also another challenge that we faced, especially with BTI. And then also, you see, like and I think it's in all sectors. So for skin, they want to see transformation.
Yes.
Because we've branded and our core values and our key indicators is result-driven treatments. So even as much as we are saying that we are result-focused kind of a spa, we have to show the results.
Yes, yeah.
So that means putting in so much work with working with maybe family members, also working on yourself so that at least you can talk.
You're a billboard for your.
You have to.
I hope it's coming. Sorry, I hope it's coming across on camera. But Jean's skin is It's glowing, it's even, it's like it's practically glistening. So she's a walking billboard for her services.
Cute. Says you. So, like there was so much, like before you say that you're giving results, you have to give the evidence
Mm,
of that.
mm.
So, and from what you know, at least skin is affected by so many other things.
Yes, for sure.
So there's hormone, there's travel, there's so much more that usually comes into consideration. So before you
Yeah.
get a transformation, it takes time.
Mm.
So that was one. And then also the other thing, because how we started, when you're starting, you can't start with everything. So you have to start. We started with just facials,
Right.
so that at least guys can trust us more.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, now we started building on slowly.
Mm-hmm,
So that was also another thing.
yeah.
And then also another challenge is if you come in as a client,
Mm.
in most cases you don't want to be used
The test.
as the test.
Yes.
Or also you don't want to be you don't want to be seen out there. So also giving content and
Right.
showing other clients what we do is also
Right. Yeah.
difficult.
Mm.
Yes, we can have a very nice transformation, but the client is like, I prefer it to be private. There's nothing much you can do. Gosh,
Yeah, there's not much you can do.
you can do.
How have you managed to work around that? Because you mentioned building credibility, and I think as in any business, building credibility is key. But I think specifically in the skincare industry, and when you are working on people's skin, as Kenyans, we're very skeptical about new brands or new things. We first want to hear, have you been? Can you tell me when
The
you went?
success,
Yeah, when you
yeah.
went. Or we want to hear from somebody that we know, we trust, that they went through the service or the experience, and they can vouch for it. So how have you managed to be able, like, what steps have you taken to build credibility for your brands?
That's a good one. So, when we started, you see, we also wanted to create a community, and even to bring in clients to walk the journey with us. So, what we did, we started, and this has been our way ever since. So, we usually come up with like a challenge. So, we look for if maybe if it's acne, we look for a severe case, and then maybe we'll have guys who maybe they wish they want to get our services, but
Yeah.
in most cases they can't maybe afford, or maybe by that time it's not a priority.
Right.
So what we do a challenge. So any guy with a very severe case, they share their photos, and then we share those photos with the audience, and then the audience will be able to choose. So if you voted for someone,
Yes.
and then you saw how bad their skin was, and then you see the journey, you see the transformation, and in most cases they're very, very invested in it. They're like, so able tell me, how is Marianne doing?
Yeah.
How far is
How far is her treatment going? Yeah.
and in that way they have invested.
Yeah.
They have invested on that case, and they want to see how it goes.
Yeah.
So we usually bring them in, and we take, so this is the first treatment, this is how they are, this is what we've done, this is the second treatment, and then they also see like how practically how the journey goes.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that has been one of the ways that we've tried to bring the credibility
Yes.
in terms of what we do, and then later on we share results with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that point that you've made on building communities is really important. The feeling like you're part of something.
Of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And invested in the journey. Okay. I wanted to ask you about myths in the skincare industry, because I feel like it's a new field, it's a growing field, at least for us in Kenya, in Africa, and it's gaining traction as it goes. But I'm sure there's, skincare myths and other myths, but specifically on building a career within the skincare industry, what would you say one myth is that people have, and what's the reality of the situation?
So one thing I usually feel like, you see how doctors are recognized. When are we going to get to the point where even as estheticians we are highly recognized? So I usually say that usually starts with an individual, and in the sense that you have to invest on yourself to have the confidence to say what you do, what you've done to get there, and then even for the client they're able to trust you more. Have you ever had a doctor who has not gone to school?
No, well, we'd hope not.
No?
The quacks, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
rarely.
very rarely. Yeah.
And knowing that at least like person, the special, the professional or the specialist that you're seeing is qualified, already it's something that is usually very important. Refuse the fact that there's a reason why we go to a facility or an institution, because
Yeah.
there's guideline, there's the coursework that you see, there's like there's the plan for it. So usually it's usually not right to think that if you can go to YouTube and then see this is something that you can do, not knowing the science about it,
Yeah.
like you can do it.
Yes, no, but no, because when you're dealing with, it's more than the potions and lotions that we're putting on our faces. It's extractions, it's more invasive treatments. And yeah, the way I always tell people, and we've all started there with our skincare journeys. We started, korogaing something in the kitchen, some turmeric, some something, and we used that. But then when we learned that actually there's products that have been formulated with targeted ingredients, you kind of leave that alone and you
And
move on to the next one. So the same way, I suppose, as you're going for specialized treatment, don't
yes.
try and do it on your own or go to somebody who isn't qualified. Invest a little bit more because I think then the results are better, safer, and you want to look good.
Yeah.
You want your skin to look good for a long time.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. I
yeah.
agree with you 100%. And then also, it's not wrong you going to YouTube, but at least have the foundation.
Yeah.
Then see what other people are doing with the knowledge already there.
Yeah.
So at least that is important. And then in the other myth that we've seen, especially with the industry, is most of the time you see like we've already gone through different stages with your business.
Yes.
So getting into the industry thinking that if I start maybe let's say formulation in a few, you see like that lifestyle that you have, that eventually
I'll be
tomorrow
there.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So, and what I understand even with formulation, you usually have go through different stages
Yeah.
for you to get the products that you have. It's not something that you
One time.
automatically one time and then you have this perfect sunscreen that you can know. So usually, of course, we have to go through those stages of growth and learn in the process.
Yes.
Yes, learning in an institution is one thing, but practically applying it in the field is also another thing.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
there's what you learn and there's what you practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is also another thing that I've noticed.
Great. Lots of gems there for everybody at home. So, Jean, you've been in the industry now for more than 5 years,
Oh yes.
blessing more than 2,000 faces, and training for more than 2.5 years, hundreds of students. We want to talk now a bit about looking forward and what's kind of coming up and what you can see, because you've been in the industry long enough now that it's changed, I think, rapidly changing over the last few years, and it continues to shift. So I wanted to ask you, from where you sit, what are the kind of trends or innovations that you see in skincare that make you excited about what's coming up in the future?
One of them, you see, like I think you're an inspiration, especially when it comes to that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, in you see, like most of the time you're importing products from outside. So having products that are Kenyan made, embracing the resources that we usually have. Because when you look at it, some of the ingredients they usually come from Africa, then shipped out, and then back to
Processed and then
Africa.
brought back. Yeah.
Brought back.
Yeah.
So having talents that at least we are just growing the market within. It's usually a very good thing. And then also, I think even for Africa, within Africa, we are trying to come up with events that are for Africa.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm saying that, I had gone to Nigeria for an expo, and when you looked at that, because you see, like in most cases in Kenya, we usually benchmark ourselves with South Africa or Nigeria.
Yes.
So what I noticed with South Africans, most of the products are formulated there, like most of them, Lamel, among others, they're
Right.
formulated from there.
Yeah.
And then one thing, they're at least formulated for the African skin. So that makes it easy. When you look at Nigerians also, with formulations, they're very big. I think there's the myth that most Nigerian products are bleaching products, but contrary to that, usually they usually have very nice product as well, even with the associations. And like the event I was telling you about, the event was organized by a Nigerian.
Right, right.
And when you look at like what we usually have, the beauty world in, which is I think happening next week.
Yes, yes.
It's from guys from Dubai who are coming to
Coming
Kenya
here.
to do that. So that tells us with most of the things that we usually look up to in the other parts of the world, they will eventually come.
Yeah.
And then I think it was last week. I had a student who was saying, so I was asking her, what's the plan? Because that is a question I usually ask them a lot. So after this, yes, what is the plan after this? And then she was like, you know what? I'll just do virtual consultations. In like her idea is very solid.
Yeah.
And then also I'll be doing and with that, since I'm starting, I'll not be having products. I'll just be doing drop shipping with them.
Right.
So that tells you that person is starting a business and the amount of capital will not be intense.
Right.
And then she'll be a mobile expert
Right.
with it.
Right.
So bringing treatments to the clients at the comfort of their home. So that is just one. But when you look at many, especially guys, you see like Gen Zs, the way they are coming into the industry,
Yes.
they are coming with so much zeal, so much like the ideas. The other day also, I met with this guy. So for him, he's developing softwares for aesthetic clinics. And then, so how the product is, you see how you can come to someone's organization and you're asking for a review.
Right.
So we know how reviews are very important to a business. And this is because a client needs to see feedback from other clients.
Yes, yes.
So what he has done, he has automated a way of doing those reviews. So that tells you there are so many opportunities within the industry
Yeah.
that for the longest time we have been outsourcing. Now we can easily get them here.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that focus on homegrown expertise and yeah, as you said earlier, I think you mentioned trusting and believing that we can do
We
we
can
can
do
do what we can
it.
do what
Yeah.
we don't need somebody else to tell us and also that crafting and designing and developing things with our needs in mind is central, I think, to being able to unlock the effectiveness of products or solutions that we offer the market. So I think I fully back you on that one. We mentioned Gen Zs just now, and you talked about how they are, coming up with cool ideas and new things. Do you have any like specific examples of how they are reshaping the space?
So, one, I know for the last few years, virtual consultations they have been key. So having someone who says within a month they're able to even close up with over millions with just consultation and then recommending products with no like with no capital whatsoever,
Just their brain.
just their brain.
Yeah.
At least I think that is brilliant. You don't have to invest or wait to get like a specific amount of capital to be able to start.
Yeah.
And then just coming up with such ideas. Yeah.
I love the the innovation and the breakthrough that younger brains have because they don't look at things with problems the same way
Problems,
we do.
yeah. And even funny enough, another then guy, you see like how usually just imagine someone coming up with their own laser machine, building it from scratch
Wow.
for hair removal and works perfectly for black skin.
I was gonna say.
For black
Yes, you're not giving us the PI hate.
pigmentation
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I thought that was so brilliant, at least.
That's a Kenyan?
Nigerian also
Okay,
still.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
And then also being able, like, was it yesterday? On Monday, I was in a virtual conference for estheticians around the world. So you can imagine getting all those estheticians within together
To sit in one place, yeah.
and with internet and with like there's no border. That tells us you can
Yeah.
really integrate or maybe do your business with anyone in the globe. And
Yes.
then we don't have to limit ourselves to what we usually know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
on our day to day. Imagine a scenario of 2,000, not 2,000, 22,000 estheticians.
Yeah, that's a huge amount.
That's huge.
Yeah.
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 So, and that is also another thing that I've noticed, at least with them.
Yes, so exciting because then, yeah, it just keeps reinforcing that this is the place to be in and you're in the right place.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question about brand building because we've talked earlier in this conversation about credibility. We've talked about, making sure that people can trust you and can come on board, and also that you can build up your clientele who will keep coming back and again and again. What role do you think authenticity plays today in building a brand?
So it's okay for us to have for you to have someone that you look up to,
Mm,
and then but looking up to someone, it doesn't mean that you clone yourself with everything that they're doing. So usually being your authentic self, just being you.
yeah.
So people really connect more with when I can feel that you're being who you are,
Yeah.
other than pretending or trying to imitate, or because it's hard to keep up with. So at least just understanding your vision, understanding what you want, what is a long term goal that you have,
Mm,
and then just aligning yourself with that. So I listened to someone who was saying it's very important for you to have a vision. And this is because in this growing trend, there will always be something. So if you keep on deviating from what you had in mind,
mm,
eventually you will not get to the place that, and then we all have different journeys.
mm.
We all have different journeys. Like you're in manufacturing,
Yeah.
I'm a consumer.
Yeah.
So now starting thinking maybe this is something I can, like you can never be.
Exactly the same as somebody else. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
I think that the journey thing is a super interesting one. I was having a conversation with somebody a few months ago, comparing themselves to their peers. Like, when we're in school, we're all at the same page. You turn up to school at the same time. The only differentiators may be the marks that you get when you leave school, or somebody's slightly better in maths and somebody's better in English, and so on and so forth. But generally, life looks the same for you. But as you kind of enter the workforce, things start to change depending on opportunities, depending on your own personal drive, because nobody's pushing you now like in school. You have to figure it out for yourself. But so much more as I get older and I look back, I'm like, my journey is not your journey.
Oh yeah,
Your journey is not my
100%.
journey. And where I'm supposed to end up, I might take the scenic route, or somebody might take, the direct route. But the challenges and the path that we take is so different, but also makes us who we are. So I'm learning to appreciate that life is a is a
Life,
journey.
it's different. And then
Yeah.
sometimes with every experience that you get, it's not much as how maybe rough it was, how bad it was.
Mm,
Every experience is a learning lesson.
mm,
So, and we experience those things to divert us in in a certain way.
yeah.
So sometimes it depends on how you take it. So if you take it positively, you
Mm-hmm.
look at, or maybe what you can do is just separating yourself with that situation, and then you see, so what can I do different? This is what happened.
Yeah.
This is how I can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the outcome that will come.
Yeah.
And usually also, we can't say we can always predict outcome,
Mm-hmm.
but whichever way, you've learned from it.
Yeah.
I think the lesson is what matters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So key. So key. Okay, hot. Before we move on to the next segment, I have a hot question for you, and I'm putting you in a fix because you are training to tomorrow's skincare professionals and experts. But do you think that passion can outwork a formal qualification, or what role do you think that passion has to play in a journey? Because I think sometimes we end up in sectors or fields because we were good at that subject, or our parents told us to pursue so and so, the African story of be a doctor, be an engineer, be a so and so. What role does passion play in success in this industry? Yeah.
So maybe we can start by saying what is passion.
Mm,
So passion is doing what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. And this is because you love what you do.
mm,
So you don't feel like waking up in the morning, going to work, but like the thought of knowing that you'll go to the clinic, see clients, and that's how that will make you feel. Automatically, you're like, you know what? I think I'll just do it.
yeah, yeah.
And it's not just do it, it's something that you are enjoying doing it.
Mhm.
So sometimes we've talked about the challenges that you usually face,
Mm,
and it's very easy for you to be discouraged if you don't like what you do.
mm,
But when you remind yourself why you're doing what you do, that keeps you back into track.
mhm.
Because, like, I mean, like even for me, within the 5 years, it's not that every day I'm like, today I'm going to work. You have days that you don't feel like you want to go to work.
Yes.
But what usually keeps me going is just the fact that I remember. So when I go to that class in BTI, seeing that person being like enabling that person to pursue their passion,
Yeah.
that automatically makes me go.
Mm.
And even if at that particular point it doesn't happen, it
Yeah.
reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Mm.
So there's that. At least when you love when you enjoy what you do, automatically it becomes easy.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah.
Or easier to deal with the challenges,
Oh,
because the challenges will come.
because the challenge will always be there. But at least when you are passionate about what you do, you're like, okay, so this is happening. So how do we deal with it?
Yes.
On to the next.
That's so
Yeah.
true. So true.
Yes.
All right. So for the final segment, and this has been such an interesting conversation, but I know your head is full of gems and you've dropped so many already for our audience, but I had a few questions on advice and takeaways for our audience. So I think let's start with the medical spa perspective. So Uglow, you've been running the spa now for 5 years. What's your top piece of advice for somebody who is considering getting into that space? What would you tell them, and what advice would you give them?
So I think the first thing, even when I started, ask yourself, yes, if I get into this industry, what is the end of it? Or what do I see? How do I see myself in the next few years?
Mm.
And then now you work backwards. So that means, like for me, I really wanted to be like a clinic.
Mm.
So what I did, I already knew the treatments that I would want to incorporate.
Yeah.
So having that in mind, at least now I ask myself, how do I get there? So it has been like small consistent steps to the goal that I want.
Right.
So having a goal, working towards it or working backwards,
Backwards,
and
yeah.
then you see what you can do. So I think that's one. And then second, enjoy what you do. So always ask yourself, is it something that 5 years looking back, is it something that goes with my values? Is it something that I'll enjoy? Is it something that that is impactful? And this is because in most cases, we don't be a taker.
Mm.
So if you're impacting someone's life, you're able, it always comes back to you. But if you're like, so what do I get out of this? In most cases, you'll be so frustrated thinking about what am I getting? What am I not getting? What is not happening? What is not working?
Yeah.
But at least having the fact that if if this person they have breakouts, if they are able to get a clear face, that gives me satisfaction.
Yeah.
So automatically, you see, like if that is me giving and then that client is happy, they are quick to refer someone. And this is because genuinely you've been able to.
Yeah.
And then still onto that, sometimes it's not about always making money. And I know, baby, I'll get attacks from this, or I don't know. But, and this is why, you see, like for me, what I stand for is results. So I recently purchased this machine and it's not working with the clients. It is an investment. But if maybe I say, no, I had put money on this machine, I have to recoup back my money.
Yeah.
Like one thing, you'll do that service, clients will not be happy. And then what will eventually happen?
Yes. Reputation goes down.
Yeah.
Again, they drop off.
I hope I've made my peace with in terms of money. And this is because, yes, I had put money in it, but I'm not looking at it as an investment.
Yes.
The end goal is, will the client be happy? And the answer is no. So I cannot proceed with it,
Yeah.
which is the ethical thing to do with it. So sometimes we usually have different journeys. It's not bad, maybe if you didn't start with, it was more of a passion that you've invested in, you've learned in different ways, and you want the papers with it. So it's never too late. So you can always still get that. And this is because even when you're trying to do many purchases, especially in the US, you can't purchase professional products without the proper documentation.
Certifications, yeah.
Certifications. So it's important for you to still get that.
Yeah.
And then that is part of growing your business. Yeah. And then when you invest on yourself, usually comes back. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really powerful. I focusing on what drives you in terms of your passion, meaning that the difficult parts are fine. and then really investing in making sure that you are up to standard and you can provide the service in the best of ways to your customers or your clients. So then maybe just before the final question, one more around mindset. You talked about for you, it's very much, can I make my customers happy with that transformation? What kind of mindset should people coming into the skincare industry have to be able to be impactful, but also to be successful?
One, there's no wrong way to do it. So one, understanding what you want. So if you want to get, let's say, from formulation, you see how you can work your way towards it.
Yeah.
And then also sometimes shadowing someone can also be a way of learning on how you can be able to implement it.
Mm.
And it's funny that in most cases we think that when you ask, you won't get it.
Mm.
But what will happen if you
Yeah.
ask and it happens? So most of the time, if you want to get into it, just ask, Olivia, can I shadow you maybe for a few months and then be able to get, or can you mentor me into this industry?
Mhm.
And then you're able to just get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So different people, depending on the goals that you have, will mentor you into it,
Mm.
whichever way you want it.
Yeah. You talked about finding a mentor earlier for yourself. How did you go about that process, and what advice could you give to people to find a mentor that makes sense?
So for me, sometimes it's hard for you to get there's that one person that you usually look up to. So one, there are many ways of getting one. So one, you can follow the things that they do. The other thing that you can do, you can just probably ask them, can you be my mentor?
Yeah.
And then they can, sometimes they will charge you, and this is an investment that you're doing for your own sake.
Mm.
Or they will be like very kind enough and tell you, you know what, come, I'll just show you what to do
Mm.
to the industry.
Yeah.
So I think just identifying what you want
Mm.
and then aligning yourself with the kind of mentor that you want, and then asking for, and now you ask yourself, how do I get access to it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's one thing that I've heard throughout your responses in this segment, but throughout the podcast, is about having a very clear vision about where you're going, because then everything else kind of falls in line. So with that, then I want to ask you the final question, and maybe the final word can be about, what legacy do you hope to leave in the industry? You have a vision for where you're going and what you want to achieve. When you've wrapped this all up, what is it that you want us to be saying about Kinuthia and skincare?
So in skincare, you see, like anything that I say, you believe. And this is because throughout the process, I have not misled any, like being true to my word.
Mm.
So if I tell you this product will actually work, and this is because I've put my thoughts, my studies into it,
Yeah.
and it actually works.
Mm.
And then if it comes to education, ensuring that we were excellent with that, and then beauty beyond borders. So we've trained people in different ways, and then mentored them into that. They can easily say that Jean took them through the journey of being an esthetician,
Yeah.
and then mentored them into it,
Mhm.
and they enjoy what they do.
Well, thank you so much, Jean, for joining us for this really, really interesting conversation. And just know that there's so many nuggets and key bits that people will be able to take away. So we're really honored to have had you on the podcast today. I wanted to give you an opportunity to, yeah, let people know where they can find you, find out more information, and anything cool projects that you might have coming up that you might want to share with people. Off you go.
So, and thank you so much for having me. I think it was a pleasure. It was very interesting, and I really enjoyed every bit of it. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the Uglow, we are based on Kiambu Road at Seattle Mall, next to NCBA. And you can also follow us on our social medias. We have Uglow Clinic. We'll put it there. BTI, we're in Parklands, opposite Empisha. And you can follow us on Beauty Therapy Institute, Nairobi. And for Cicadia, you can contact us on the Cicadia Kenya. If you want to get into the industry and you don't know where to start, we can guide you on what products will be ideal for you. And then for my personal page, you can get me at Jean Kinuthia or Wamboi Kinuthia.
Thanks so much. Looking forward to talking to you in our next conversation. We'll have lots more conversations like this. Please leave any questions and comments in the comment box for Jean. I'm sure we can pass them on to her. But you've heard about where you can find all her services, whether you're interested in training and upskilling yourself, whether you're interested in a transformational journey for your skin, or if you're in the professional field and you're looking for products. I think Jean is the person to talk to. Otherwise, we'll see you in our next episode.